Title: Inside the Glamour, Princess Leonor's royal wedding moments that shocked the world. The music swells softly, a royal melody mixed with whispers of the crowd. The world watched in silence. Spain held its breath. The future queen was about to walk into history. But no one was ready for what they were about to see. Not the guests, not the cameras, not even her family. Princess Leonor's wedding was supposed to be perfect, elegant, traditional, predictable. Instead, it became a royal storm of emotion, surprise, and truth. Because beneath the diamonds and the gold, something real happened that day. Something the world didn't expect. Leonor wasn't just a princess walking down the aisle. She was a daughter, a symbol, and a young woman carrying the weight of a nation. And behind every smile, there was a story waiting to be told. Let's go inside the glamour. Inside the emotion. Inside the royal wedding that shocked the world. The day began under a perfect Spanish sky. The palace grounds glistened with sunlight, guards in crimson uniforms lined the marble steps, and the scent of white roses filled the air. Every camera in Europe turned to the Cathedral of Almedina in Madrid. It wasn't just a wedding. It was a moment of destiny. The guests arrived first, royalty from across Europe. Queen Margrethe of Denmark, Crown Prince William and Princess Kate from the UK. And in the middle of it all, the young Princess of Spain preparing to become a queen. Inside her private chamber, Leonor stood quietly in front of a mirror. Her dress shimmered in silver light. It wasn't what people expected. It wasn't loud or grand. It was simple, symbolic. Every thread told a story about duty, tradition, and rebellion. Queen Letizia entered the room. No words at first, just a long, deep look between mother and daughter. Letizia reached out and touched the lace veil. "You're ready," she whispered. "Spain is ready." Leonor nodded, but her eyes glistened. That single tear told the truth. Even queens feel fear. The cameras outside never saw that moment. They didn't see the nervous breath she took before walking down the aisle. They didn't hear her whisper to herself, "This is my destiny." When the cathedral doors opened, time froze. The crowd stood. Flashes of light, the sound of trumpets, the air trembling with history. And there she was, Princess Leonor of Spain, walking down the aisle, every step echoing centuries of monarchy. But then, something happened that no one expected. Halfway down the aisle, Leonor stopped. She turned her head, and her eyes met her father's, King Felipe VI. It wasn't planned. It wasn't rehearsed. A brief pause, but a powerful one. It was a silent message. "I will honor you, but I will also be myself." The audience noticed. So did the cameras. Social media exploded within minutes. Why did she stop? What did it mean? But inside that cathedral, only one thing mattered: her next step forward. As the ceremony began, the choir filled the air with angelic harmonies. Her groom, elegant and poised, couldn't take his eyes off her. He was nervous, but proud. The priest began the ancient words of blessing, and all of Spain listened. Yet the emotion built quietly. When Leonor said, "I do," her voice trembled. Not from fear, from the weight of centuries on her shoulders. A princess saying yes, but also saying goodbye, to her youth, her freedom, her privacy. Then came the shock, a small, unexpected act of defiance. Instead of the royal kiss on the cheek, Leonor turned and embraced her husband fully. A long, real, human embrace. The crowd gasped. It broke every royal tradition. It broke the script. It broke the walls between royalty and reality. And for the first time, Spain saw its future queen as something more than a crown. They saw her as a woman in love. After the ceremony, as bells rang and the world cheered, another moment quietly unfolded behind the palace walls. Away from cameras, Leonor knelt before her parents. Not as a queen, not as a royal figure, but as their daughter. She thanked them, for guidance, for love, for belief. King Felipe placed his hand on her shoulder. "You were brave," he said. And Queen Letizia, with tears in her eyes, whispered, "You made history today." Outside, the world was in awe. Royal watchers across Europe couldn't stop talking. The British press called it, the Spanish fairy tale that changed everything. In Denmark, it was, a queen's courage. And in Spain, it was simply, our Leonor. But not everything was glamour. Behind the celebrations, there was tension. Whispers of change in the monarchy. Questions about the future of tradition. Would Leonor modernize the crown? Would Spain accept a new kind of queen? At the royal reception, the atmosphere was joyful, but watchful. Every move was analyzed, every smile studied. Even Kate Middleton, who once stood where Leonor now stood, leaned toward Letizia and said softly, "She has grace, and power. Spain is lucky." As the night continued, Leonor danced, not just as a bride, but as a leader in her own right. Her choice of music, her gestures, her warmth with guests, everything spoke of renewal. She wasn't copying tradition, she was rewriting it. When the fireworks lit up Madrid, Leonor stepped onto the balcony beside her husband. Thousands cheered below, but one sound rose above them all, the chant of her name. Leonor, Leonor, Leonor. The future queen smiled, waved, and whispered, "For Spain." Hours later, when the palace fell quiet, she sat alone by the window. The crown jewels glimmered in the moonlight. Her hands trembled slightly as she removed her tiara. A deep breath. Relief. The weight of the day melted away. She took out a small note, a handwritten message from her grandmother, Queen Sophia. It read, "Remember, a crown is not worn on the head. It is carried in the heart." Leonor smiled. For the first time that night, she let the tears fall freely. That was the real story. The story beyond the cameras. The story of a princess who became more than royalty, she became a symbol of hope. Her wedding was not about titles or power. It was about love, courage, and the promise of a new Spain. Every guest, every nation, every viewer felt it, the rise of a queen shaped by grace, not fear. The next morning, newspapers around the world showed her photo. But they didn't just see beauty, they saw strength. They saw the birth of a monarch who dares to feel, to change, to lead. And that is why Princess Leonor's royal wedding will forever be remembered. Not for the diamonds, not for the dress, but for the moments that shocked the world and revealed the heart of a true queen.